honey, I do everything right. You know I do. You know I go to all my dialysis treatments. I take my binders. I do what I'm supposed to do. I mean, I work with the nutritionist. I talk with the doctors because we are a team. I'm not trying to die or anything. I want to live good and well on dialysis. That's why I listen. That's why I try different things. I want to make this thing work until I get a transplant or get on the transplant list, or God forbid I never get on it. I want to make this thing work. I'm trying. You know I am. Right, baby? You know I am. Come on now. I want to live not just for the kids, but for you. Definitely for you, boo. All right? Because God got this. I know one thing, though. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hey, everybody, how are you doing? I say good night, but not good night to go to bed, but just because it's evening, so I'll even say good evening. Oh, boy, we got a slamming show for you tonight. I'm telling you, I don't know what to say first, but I say, look at the little toys and stuff that we have and things like that for little babies and stuff. Isn't that adorable? You just don't know what to get the kids. Love is the main thing to get them, though. I love toys, and boy, do I go crazy in the stores. I just wanted to mention to you about Trio. And you know, I had somebody on my show before about Trio, but that's the Transplant Recipient International Organization. So look that up. If you had a transplant, thinking about getting a transplant, they have groups, they have some of everything. And did you know the Transplant Games is coming up, and that will be in New Jersey this year? Now, all this years I've been running, walking, flying, jumping, and now because I'm dealing with a little bone thing, I'm still going to that transplant thing. I don't care if I got the skate down there, throw the walker down there, the cane or whatever, the sister's going. So just remember that. All right? Okay. Now, I this is also a Christmas card that I want to say, look at that. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, I don't have my reading glasses to read it, but I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you and I wanted to give you a nice card. Okay? And it talks about God's love and everything. All right? So love you, bless you, and thank you for being with us tonight. Now, let me introduce my guest. She's a sweetheart. I'm telling you right now. Wait till you meet her. You're going to say, what? She was right about that. My guest name is Angie Sudduth Walsh, but I say Angie S. Walsh because I saw it that way as well. This woman is a life coach. She's a motivational speaker. Oh, what is she not? I tell you, she does everything, she tries everything, and she does everything well. God has truly blessed her. Welcome to the show, Angie. Hi.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, wow. I am glad to have you here. I still laugh to this day about how we met, how I had looked in on you doing your show, and I
Hmm.
saw you interviewing Andrea. And Andrea
Yes.
was on the show a couple of months ago. And
Hmm.
I was listening to y'all. And I mean, it was like in the middle of the night or something like that. And I was up all night having one of those things going on where you can't get any sleep, insomnia business. And I
Right.
looked and I enjoyed your show so much. We became friends after that. We've been in touch ever since. So I appreciate knowing you and us clicking and being able to do this.
I appreciate that too. It was really cool how you popped in there because I was like, "Who?" I asked Andrea. I said, "Do you know this woman?" And she goes, "No." And I said, "Well, I don't either, but I want to."
Wow,
So,
wow. See, the feeling was mutual. The feeling was mutual. Now,
yes.
let me ask you a question. First of all, what is your job that you do or the job you was doing before you got into the other things that I'm going to ask you about?
Well, well before I was a stay-at-home mom and wife, and then went through a
Beautiful.
divorce, and I was working again. So I was after 16 years, I went back to what I knew. I was working in a restaurant and
Hmm.
was serving. I was supervising, planning on climbing up the corporate ladder. Was store trainer, and
Yes.
then I got diagnosed with Lyme disease and
Mm.
been misdiagnosed for 16 years. But I was diagnosed with it, and that's where things started. going down.
Wow, wow. Lyme disease. How did you get that?
Well, we figured out through testing that I was bitten in March of '97 when I was in Costa Rica on a cruise,
Mm,
and I didn't receive a bullseye rash, which only 20 to 30% of people get the bullseye rash. You
uh-huh.
don't feel when a tick bites you because they numb you before they bite you. I
Wow.
had no marks, no rash, no bugs. Sometimes the tick will embed themselves in you, and that that's another indication that you've been bitten.
Wow.
Um, I had none of that. So a first red flag for them should have been this girl's been out of the country because I was 25 years old, almost 26, and they should have said she's been out of the country. She's severely sick because I
Yeah.
got sick within less than 48 hours of that tick bite. So, and that's typical. So they should have tested me for things, but they did not. They were like, "Oh, she just has the flu. She caught something on the ship," and there it went.
Wow, wow. So, well, what's some of the symptoms of having Lyme disease?
What's not a symptom?
Wow, that many,
It
huh?
is well, it's called the great imitator, so it mimics every disease and there is. I mean, I had it affected me neurologically. It takes just seconds to enter your bloodstream
Mm,
and minutes to cross the blood-brain barrier.
wow.
So when I had it, I didn't just have Lyme. You can have a co-infection and not have Lyme, but typically if
Mm,
you have Lyme, you always have co-infections with it. So each co-infection comes with its own set of symptoms. My
mm,
main things were extreme exhaustion, like you wouldn't believe. My first symptoms that I had were cognitive. I had short-term memory issues. Then my
wow.
later on, my long-term memory started being affected. Severe joint and muscle pain, migraines. I later on I had a TIA, which is a small stroke, and then I went into
Oh,
having seizures where I was having 10 to 12 seizures a day.
mm,
Now this was after diagnosis. Off and on in that 16 years, I went to every specialist. I went to Mayo Clinic. I went everywhere trying to figure out what was wrong. And they tested me a few times for Lyme, but the way the old tests that they had, and still they still have them today, it would come back negative, and it was
mm,
a false negative, which happens a
wow.
lot. So there's specific labs that you should go to and use. Igenix is one of them, and then Armin Labs. I really like his lab over in Germany for
Yeah.
getting a concrete diagnosis with Lyme and co-infections and other things.
Mm,
There's a multitude. There's so many symptoms that go with Lyme, and no
wow.
two people are the same because there's so many different strains of the disease. So
Wow.
there's like I have a lot of people use stevia to help with Lyme, and they're able to use that. I can't use it. I have an allergy to it. I can't use CBD oil, hemp oil. I have an allergy to that. So it's like I have a different, I've had a different strain. I've been in wellness for 14 months, so
Mm.
I'm doing really well. But my body's still healing. So
Well, you said before the show started, you called it wellness instead of remission because
because remission it's negative and you're waiting for something to come back. So if you say you're in wellness, then you are continuing to maintain that wellness and
wow.
you're learning to live
Mm,
again. A lot of people in remission, if they use remission, they can stay in that negative space and they can, I don't know. I just don't like to use it. Wellness is more positive, and it's I don't know.
yeah.
You're in God's light, so you're
Mm,
walking and you're taking it day to day.
wow, wow. Well, okay. So you have Lyme disease or you've had Lyme disease. You're in
Mhm.
wellness. I'm going
Yes,
with you there.
right.
And I ain't mad at you because dealing with kidney disease is a trip, and it has
Right.
its own way of of getting to you as well, and you have to deal with a lot of stuff and deal with a lot of people and folk and medications and stuff, especially with a transplant. But
Right.
what would you say you learned from having Lyme disease? Is there anything
I've
that you
learned.
learned or taken away from the table from having Lyme disease?
Well, I've learned a lot of I feel like I learned a lot, because when I was diagnosed with it in December 2013, they gave me 6 to 12 months to live. So
mm,
I had to fight, like I'd never fought for anything before.
mm.
And I have 2 kids. And so I had to make the toughest decision ever to move away to
Yes,
my parents. I
yes.
moved to Florida, 1,000 miles away. They were 11 and 14 when I moved. It's been 5 years. We thought I'd be here 6 months, and it's been 5 years. So it's
Wow.
not an easy recovery. It's been really hard. But if you want something in life, you have to fight. You have to pray. You have
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
turn things
Mm.
over to God. You have to
Yes,
realize it's not in your time, it's in His time. It's divine timing.
yes.
There's just
Amen.
there's so many things. You learn patience. You learn to appreciate things that you may have appreciated before, but you have a deeper appreciation for once you go through things. Because I call 2015 the year of death, because it almost took me several times. I did
Wow.
have a near death experience, but that's where
Mm.
I had some profound things happen in that experience as
Wow.
well. So, and then that's when I also realized that I had not fully turned things over to God, and I was holding myself back from healing. So that's when I
Mm.
started working on myself, and releasing a lot of things that I had, negativity that I had inside of me, and I didn't realize. And
Wow.
I fully turned things over to God. December 2015, fully turned it
Amen.
over to Him. And I mean,
I know
that
that's
takes a
right.
lot of strength to do that, because we all want to control things. And what you have to realize is you don't control anything. You just control yourself and how you react to things.
Well,
So,
I love the way you turn things around, because even though this has happened to you and you had to move and you almost died, you got closer to the Lord, you end up having a podcast, your own show. Tell us something about your show.
well, I started doing that. It was is actually a year ago, a couple of days ago, was my first interview with Dr. Armin Schwarzbach. He's over in Germany. And I had met
Mm,
him
wow.
in June of 2017 at a physicians conference that I spoke at, he was speaking at. And so he was my first interview. And I
Hmm.
decided that what I wanted to do was, when I had reached wellness, is I made this promise when I was sick in bed. I was in bed for over 3 years sick.
Yeah.
And um, I made a promise that when I got well, I would not forget those behind me. And I'd always be green. Green is the color for lime. So I set out to interview the best of the best. And my show's Journey to Wellness. It's on Facebook Live. I'm moving it over to YouTube, but I have a podcast as well. Haven't really done much with that. I have done some things with that, but mainly I do interviews like this, where
Right.
I've done interviewed Dr. Darren Ingalls, Dr. Jonathan Strite. I've done
Yeah.
a lot of I've just provided a lot of different avenues to people, because not one protocol fits every single person, no matter what you're facing. Not one diet, not one exercise program. Everybody is different and should treat their
Individual.
body and listen to their body,
Mm,
yeah, as an individual. So that's been my purpose in doing all the interviews and the things that I do, because I want to educate people. I want them
yes,
to
of
not
course.
have to go through what I have, because
Ooh,
it's
say
Lyme
that.
has girl, Lyme has like taken everything. I'm starting fresh. I feel like I'm like a kid graduating from high school, where I'm starting over. I've got my health
Mm,
back on track, which I still have to monitor. I still have to do maintenance, because if I fall off, then I might have a few days in bed or something. So it's
mm,
not like it's all peaches and cream. And when
no.
you attain wellness, you have to maintain it and respect it, because if you don't, it will go away. So
Mm,
it's key.
wow.
It's key.
So you listen to your body, and you you started a show to help other people and to educate them. That's why I did this myself. This is why I wrote books. This is why I travel all over the world,
Yes.
because I need them to get this point before to help them. It's
Yes.
helping me at the same time, but to help them. So I understand that. I was supposed to be on your show too, and we had to we had to change the date or something happened. And so
Yes.
we still trying to get there, when with you working things out, but I ain't mad at you. Okay.
Well,
I ain't mad at you.
we
It's
got you
all
down for
good.
Thursday, I think, right? We
The
got you down for
12th.
Thursday.
The 12th.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
you down.
So, oh, well, beautiful. 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 Let me what did you know about dialysis? Did you know anything about dialysis or transplant?
I know a little bit.
Okay.
I know how your body can reject the kidney. I know what it. I've had some friends that have been on dialysis. I
Mhm.
know that anytime you face any kind of chronic illness, but especially something like what you're going through, it's it changes, it alters everything about your life. It's like it just takes everything and throws it up in the air, and then you got to catch things and juggle,
Whoa,
basically,
whoa,
you know.
whoa. Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do, I mean, you work with your doctors, you work with your diet, like you were saying, resting, you got to get family involved and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You got to pay attention, you got that diet is very important. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Taking your medications and stuff like that. Because when you
Yep.
sometimes don't do what you're supposed to do, it causes other problems or gave you a
You're right.
problem that you didn't want, then you didn't ask
Yep.
for, you didn't need. Not that like you asked for dialysis, but
Right.
some things it could be better if you did better. All of us,
I
all of us can be
right.
guilty of that. All of us can
Well,
be guilty of
I think
that.
that my grandma always said, if you lose your health, you lose everything. And she's right.
Mm,
And I experienced that when I was a kid and I was growing up. She'd say it, and I'd think, what does she really mean by that? Like, what does that mean? You lose your health, you lose
mm,
everything. You
yeah,
lose everything. You don't have your health because you can't work, you can't take care of yourself, your family, nothing. A lot of,
yes,
the shows that I do too is not just about interviewing, it's about helping people um learn to put themselves first, because if you
yes,
don't put yourself first by taking care of yourself, you can't take care of the other people around you or what you're
that's true.
wanting to do or achieve. So self-care is so important, self-love is so important, having faith, believing that prayer is going to work. So many people will say, well, I've prayed and nothing's happened. Well, it's not in your time, it's in his time. So
Mhm.
you have to have patience, and you have to truly turn things over to God so that you can see some results from it.
Yeah,
And it's in your prayers. When they say, well, God doesn't hear prayers, sometimes he doesn't answer prayers, but then another one will be answered, or it'll turn out in a different way where everything works out. So you just have to have patience.
yeah. Well, the Bible says all things work together for the good to them
Right.
that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. I mean, some things he'll heal miraculously. Bam, boom, you're healed. And some
Right.
stuff took time or took years. And
Right.
sometimes he'll make you better in the situation instead of
Yep.
just healing you. Because
Yep.
sometimes that keep you closer to him. Because a lot of times when we get things, sometimes we forget about him. You don't want to be forgotten. I ain't
That's the
mad at
key.
him.
You don't want to forget. You don't forget. Like, I haven't forgotten, and
Amen.
that's what I don't forget those behind me, no matter what, if they have Lyme or they have another chronic illness, or like you
Oh
with
yeah.
the dialysis and the kidney, all of that stuff. I I look at everybody the same. Okay, like, I don't see anybody, as well or richer or poor, whatever. Everybody to me is
Mhm.
the same.
One
and
way.
and we're all, the more and more I talk to people, I meet people. Like I was telling you, I had an event yesterday. Every single person has a single thing about them. It's what's on the inside that
Oh
they
yeah.
have stuffed down, they pushed down for so many years, and they don't realize that they're holding themselves back. I realized I was holding myself back. So when you realize that and you look in the mirror and you're like, who is this person looking back at me?
Mm,
You want to find that person again. That's what I
yeah.
help people do.
Wow. Well, if a person wanted to maybe either start a podcast, or even if they didn't want to start a podcast, but they were dealing with Lyme disease, what would you say to them that could or would help them in some sort of way?
Well, I have a lot of people that will message me or approach me with that are battling Lyme, because I always say, you look to someone that has achieved wellness and you ask them how they got there and what they did. Now,
Yeah.
your protocol is going to be designed for your body. but I'll ask them how long they've been sick, where are they at in their treatment, where are they at in the progress. That way I can get like a percentage in my mind of where they are. I have doctors that I work with that I recommend to them. I have
Yeah.
people from all over the world contact me. Now,
Wow.
sometimes with
That's
if
great.
they're about if if the person is between 65 to 75% to wellness with Lyme, I do work with a national practitioner in the area, and her and I will work together to design a protocol for them. And then
Mm.
I'll coach them on with their diet and with exercising, and there's detoxing and your sleep schedule, self care. There's all this stuff that has to go together in order for
Mm.
you to achieve wellness. But still, the main thing is getting you right with you inside.
Uh-huh.
So,
Wow. Wow. That's all right. That's hey. You gotta start with you first. Can't go no
that's
further
right.
until you start with you. So you ain't never lied. So I know that's right. Um is there anything that you and I, even though we're just chatting, would you want to talk about or say before I will allow you to give a shout out to someone? Anybody that you want to give a shout out to? Is there anything we might have missed or something that you wanted to cover that we did not cover?
Um, I don't, I don't know. I mean, I could talk about Lyme disease forever. I could talk about, I have many questions I have for you when you're on my show because I want people to learn about your disease and what you're going through.
Sure.
Everybody's journey is important. No person's story is more important than somebody else's, or you don't try and trump somebody with your own personal story. You try to inspire them and lift them up with it to encourage them so that they
Wow.
know that they can get through it.
Yes.
So um I don't know if I mean I'm always here to help. I have people that I can refer you to if you're with doctors or special whatever. I've got a whole advocates. I've got all people that I can connect you with whatever you're facing, or if you're needing help with with yourself with trying to achieve life things. I can help you with that.
Well, does the treatment consist of?
Well, Lyme disease treatment is it's all out of pocket, and
Wow.
most of it. What we are discovering is that Western medicine does antibiotics. It helps acute Lyme. That means if they catch it immediately when you've been first bitten by a tick, usually
Mm.
within the first 6 months. But most of the time, they treat just Lyme disease. They don't test for co-infections. So
Yeah.
you can be okay from the Lyme, but the co-infections could still be waiting, in limbo in your body.
Wow.
So treatment is natural is the way to go. That's what finally kicked everything for me. It took about a year and a half of being on natural treatment, and I was switching things around, and I got to a point where I was self-treating. Now I don't recommend that, but you get to a point after you've been sick for 20 something years, and I've
Yeah.
worked with herbs and all of that since 2002. I get it. I know how they go together. I can't explain how I understand it, but I got myself to wellness. So that's how
Wow.
I not just myself. I mean, God helped me as well because I prayed to
Mm.
him the whole time to help. And I'd say I am healed because I am are the two most powerful words you can use. And
Wow.
but with Lyme, it's a very tricky thing because no two people are the same and no two people respond to the exact same protocol. That's why the doctors that I refer people to, they do individualized protocols, which is what is needed with Lyme disease and co-infections.
Well, does it ever go away? And can you give me an example of one of those treatments, whether it's medicine and or herbs?
Well, okay. Well, I can give you what I've used. What got me to wellness is I had a combination of my diet. I was very, very strict with my diet. So you're allowed like salmon or chicken. At first, you're allowed no meat at all. You do vegetables, juicing. I respond so much better to juicing than eating multiple meals a day. Just my digestive system doesn't respond that way. Um,
Mm.
you can't have bread, you can't have sugar, you cannot have a lot of things that out of the box fast food, none of that stuff. You have to know all ingredients that are
That's
because you
right.
could be allergic or sensitive to something.
Yeah.
Diet is very key. Sleep is very key because you heal in your sleeping. Detoxing
Wow.
is very important with Lyme because you can take binders, you can take things that like charcoal and clay. You can take that internally. You can take other things, probiotics, fish
Yeah, I've
oil.
taken charcoal. Yes.
There's many different. You do salt baths to help draw the things out. Your skin's your largest organ. We have to do dry brushing. I mean, it's exhausting the things that you have to do to get to wellness, and then you still have to do those things on a maintenance level. Now, every day, I have a small thing of supplements that I take compared as to what I used to take, but
Mm,
everything is natural, pharmaceutical grade supplements. I do some muscle testing with my body, which is using my body's energy to ask, what it will respond to, what it won't,
mm,
maybe not like. Um, you know, meditation, self care, doing things for yourself, respecting yourself so others do. It's learning to say no. Not saying I'm sorry for not being able to do something, because with Lyme, even though you're in wellness, when you're in wellness is when you have absolutely no symptoms. Now, a lot of people will say that they're in wellness, or they'll say remission, but they're really
mm.
not, because your first clue that you're in wellness is you beat the moon. The moon
Yeah.
severely affects Lyme patients, and you will
Mm,
be up all night. You'll be up for several days before and after. It's so weird. But the first time I beat the moon, like, I made a big announcement about it because I slept through the night. And now
mm,
I don't even notice when there's a full moon or a new moon. It doesn't bother me anymore. You don't have pain like you used to. Now,
mm,
that's amazing to me because I had pain for over 20 something years every single
mm,
day, excruciating pain. And
mm,
to not have pain like that. Now, if I do something where I walk a little, longer than I did, exercising or whatever, I might be sore in the morning, but it goes away. Whereas with
good.
Lyme pain, it doesn't go away.
Stick
So,
with you a minute. Mm,
they say the first two symptoms to appear are the last to disappear. So there's some days where my cognitive is better than others. I still have some issues with short-term memory. There's I've got a swelling. Sometimes I still have some problems with some swelling and stuff with my lymphatic system, but
yeah.
nerve damage. But a lot of that stuff, it takes time to heal. So I'm
Yes.
just 14 months in. You have to go 2 years with no symptoms to be declared in full wellness. So next October in 2020, that will be
Yeah.
my 2 year mark. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. Congratulations.
thank you.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it takes a lot of hard work, Lisa. It really does. Like, people
I
think,
believe you. I can hear it.
yeah, it does.
You
And
look
it
good though. I
progress.
ain't please, you look good. Is there any support groups for people with Lyme disease, or
There is that
any walks for it or anything?
I don't know about walks for it. There's still
Website or something?
there's many different websites. I belong to the
Oh wow.
Florida Lyme League, and
Mm,
they're a good group of ladies. There's some men in there as well, but it's mostly ladies, and there's some very good friends of mine. They we try to meet once a month, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Um,
okay.
and there is Lyme support groups, but you got to be careful of the groups that you get in, because there's a lot of people they'll give a lot of misinformation. And a lot of people are really, really sick and desperate to get well. So they
Wow.
think, oh, well, this worked for this person, it's going to work for me. Or
Yeah.
they're just, Lyme affects your brain. It affects your
Mm,
cognitive. So you're not yourself. You get
wow.
depersonalization,
Wow.
you know,
Mm,
um, dissociation. There's just so many things, Lisa, that go with it. And I always, I always said I was, Bartonella was my worst thing that I battled. I had two strains of it, and I call
mm,
myself Bart Angie because it would change my personality. I could go like that, something
wow.
just very small could, flip,
What's
flip my switch.
Bartonella? And have you ever been misdiagnosed?
Oh yeah, I was misdiagnosed for 16 years. So that's why I got to the point where they told me had 6 to 12 months left. That's the other thing I want to say is, don't ever let somebody tell you that you have a limited amount of time, because the Lord works in mysterious ways. You believe,
He
you
does.
ask, healed, and he will come through. But you have to
Oh,
believe and
yes.
put your trust and your faith over.
Mm-hmm.
Bartonella
Mm-hmm.
is a co-infection of Lyme. A lot of people have heard of cat scratch fever, but there
Uh-huh.
are different strains of Bart as there are different strains of Lyme. I had another co-infection called Babesia. Um, Lyme and Bart are neurological a lot, and there's something called Lyme rage that you can get, where you just have these moments of rage that you can't control. There's a rash associated with Bart. The cat scratch fever is you look like you have scratch marks,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had two strains, so I had a different type of rash. Neither one hurt; they just appear when it was going to flare. So I always had it around my ribs, on my side, around my
Oh,
lymph nodes, under my arm, in my
mm.
groin. Um, and I had both. I had both the scratches and just a rash. But there, babesia will affect your breathing. I used to have such horrible night sweats, and I'd feel like I had like 10 elephants sitting on my chest where I couldn't breathe.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Horrific headaches. I mean, it's just when I think about now, even though it's still day to day now. I can go for several days and I do good. I still have to monitor, still have to self care. That's why I stress self care. Taking care of
Right.
yourself is so important, because taking
Well,
breaks when you're
well,
feeling good, you want to keep going, and then you'll end up in bed. So you still got to watch, you're maintaining this wellness. You
yes.
got to respect your
Yes.
body.
Well, what was you mixed diagnosis with? Because usually, if you diagnose, they had to have mixed it up with something. What was you miss? How was you mixed diagnosed? What?
They told me I had lupus and fibromyalgia, and every time they would try to put me
Mm,
on drugs for either of those, I would have these dramatic, severe reactions. They put me on
wow.
that Lyrica, I believe, for fibromyalgia, and in 2 weeks, girl, I gained 30, almost 40 pounds, and it
Whew.
was all water. I was swelled up. I had
Mm,
blurred vision. I had even the 1% of the symptoms of, very rare cases may experience this. I experienced them all,
wow.
and they pulled me off of it. I kept telling them. And what's weird is I would hear, whenever they would say you have fibromyalgia and lupus, I would hear somebody say, no, you don't. And I'm like, well, what do I have then?
Mm,
And they
yeah.
had
Yeah.
tested me for Lyme, but like I said, if it's not active, the test is going to come back negative. A way to bring, if you suspect Lyme or a co-infection, a way to bring it out, your doctor will do this. They will put you on about 2 or 3 high doses of doxycycline, flagyl, and I believe the other one's uh,
That flagell sound familiar.
I can't remember the other one. It starts with a P. I want to say Plaquenil, but I don't know if that's right or not. They put
Mm,
me on those three after I'd already been diagnosed. I had already had uh, one CDC positive test, and then the next one just blew up. The next test they ran, it was like off the chain with everything. So that's one way to get a diagnosis. Now, if you don't have it, then you're not going to react. So what it
right.
does is it angers the disease, and it'll
Mm,
flare. And you feel like you had the worst flu ever. I mean, you can't move, you're so exhausted. I mean, and as the longer you go misdiagnosed, the worse it attacks everything in your body. Everything.
yes. Well, you're not getting any help for it, or the
Right.
body is not getting any answers. So, I mean, how is it going to heal? Or no, it's
Right.
probably trying to heal, 'cause that's how God made it, but it needs some help or something with with some things you have to. You need help with the body to get it, to get it better and everything like that. I had Stephen Johnson syndrome, and I had every effect on the bottle. So and I was mixed diagnosed with things, but they found out that I had that when I went to the hospital, from being given the wrong medication.
Yeah.
Was dioxin, penicillin, all them things I'm allergic to bad.
Oh,
Anything in the
yeah.
stillin oxin family. So, it's something else that you think you're doing the right thing, and sometimes you don't get the right answers. But I'm glad that you are Shiro and you doing your thing here with your podcast and with your life coaching and your helping with others and even coming on this show. My show is not just about dialysis and transplant. It's a resource show. So it's to
Right.
help them financially, spiritually, naturally. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anything that whatever help is out there, I'll try to dig it up, find it, swim for it or
Right.
something. You know,
I
so
agree.
yeah,
I
so I mean, yes, we got to try out here, and we are trying, and we're doing. We took action. Now,
yeah.
who would you like to give a shout out to? If you had to give anybody in the world a shout out, I heard you talk about your family, but whoever it is.
Um, man, I got a lot of people, girl. Like I have I'm thankful for so many people, but this disease has given me a chance to see the true colors of people as well. So I'm more, I wouldn't say, I'm just more guarded with who I allow in. A shout out, man. Like my mom was my caregiver, like I wouldn't be
Oh,
here
your
if it
mom is a
wasn't for
beautiful
my dad.
person. Hi, mommy.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I remember your
um,
mother. Yes.
my kids are like, this disease has like severely affected them because, I've been it's taken me away from them, and so
Sure,
I've
sure.
missed important years, with them. Now I've tried to do my best to stay. I've always been a hands-on mom, and I've done the best I could going through this. But they're kids, so they go back and forth with how they accept things and how they don't. So, but
True.
they were my lights. They were my
Oh yeah,
lights in the tunnel
true.
leading to wellness. So I mean, my parents and my kids, and then I have a few close friends that I'm thankful for because if it wasn't for them, they pulled me out of some dark times when I was really, really sick and wanting to give up. So
Great.
yeah,
Fantabulous. Wow. Well, I mean, listen, sometimes family is the main one that you just give all the love and a shout out to. Some people do co-workers, some people do their significant other, some people do their children, maybe even the dog. But I'm just glad that you came on the show. I'm glad that you were able to give me a chance and give me some time and to let people out there know about Lyme disease, what you're doing. What time is your show weekly? So put that out there before I end the show.
okay.
What
Well,
time is your
normally
show?
it's on Thursday nights. It's on my Facebook page. I have a public Facebook page as well, but I don't know. Facebook's been playing around with things, so I've been going back to my personal page and doing my lives and stuff. But it's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Journey to Wellness. And like I said, I interview doctors. I've got you coming on this Thursday.
Woo!
I know the next week I've got a health coach that is from Indiana, and she works with just women. She's
Mhm.
functional medicine coach, and then in January I'm working on an interview with, I don't know if you're aware of this doctor or not, but Dr. Terry Walls. She has MS, and she
Mm.
wrote the Walls protocol. I have a lot
Wow.
of friends that have MS, and I'm working on getting that interview. Dr. Ingalls, who I'm friends with and we collaborate with a lot, he he had Lyme disease and he has MS now. So
Mhm.
and he knows Dr. Walls. So we're working on getting that interview.
Stuff.
And then I've just
Oh,
got some
great.
people that are, they're very they're spiritual, they're open minded. They help people open themselves up to, because
Wow.
you need that with healing. You need
Mm,
all
mm,
you
mm.
need everything, full protocol for you.
Yes.
So
Well, you
yeah,
bringing that awareness. You bringing that awareness and putting it out there, and you
yes,
letting people know. So some of these diseases are hitting under a rock. We glad that you brought it out, and you
yes,
shouting it out, and you talking about it. You're not being quiet. So that's good.
right,
That's good.
that's right.
And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I hope I didn't miss anything, and it was just a pleasure to have you. I want you to have a beautiful night, a fantabulous night, and that's just about it. I just want to say thank you once again
Well,
and enjoy your night.
well, thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to have you on my show so we can all learn about what you're going through, your journey, your story, because your story is going to inspire somebody else.
And
That's the
so
purpose.
has yours tonight. I'm so sure that it has, and it will, and it did. So
Well, if
I thank
anybody
you
has
again.
any questions about Lyme, or they need help with coaching, life coaching, health coaching, whatever, look me up, contact me. I'll help you. And if I
All
can't,
right.
I'll get you to where you need to go.
All right. Well, keep doing big and great things. Bless your life. And I appreciate you. And I'll definitely see you this Thursday.
That's right, girl. All right. Well, bless you too, honey. We'll see you.
All right, love. Thank you. Well, there you have it, people. There you have it. All right, you got the 411 on Lyme disease. You got your resources out there. You were able to listen and look in. So thank you for doing that. We have a great shows all through the year. And thank you for all your love and support. I bid you adieu, a good night, and a million blessings. Your girl, Lisa. Bye.